Resuming debate, reprise de débat. The honourable member for Sturgeon River, Parkland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many years ago, during the 2006 election, one of the most important issues of the day was accountability and transparency. The Liberal government at the time had been implicated in the most severe case of political corruption in modern Canadian history. You may remember this as the sponsorship scandal. I know I remember. For years, Liberal-linked advertising firms with government contracts kept high-profile Liberal organizers on the payroll and generously financed the Liberal Party of Canada, all in return for little or no work, as was later found in the investigation. This operation could be best characterized as a machine, which infected and controlled agencies across the government. The purpose of this machine was to place the resources of the government at the disposal of the Liberal Party of Canada. And after years of Liberal corruption and independent investigations, Canadians had had enough. And in 2006, they elected a Conservative government under Prime Minister Stephen Harper to get to the bottom of things and root out the corruption. We introduced the Accountability Act, an act which dismantled the machine built to abuse taxpayer funds and power for the benefit of the Liberal Party. It also helped ensure that future governments, including a Conservative government, would never again abuse the apparatus of government for the benefit of their political party. This Accountability Act created measures to protect Canada from political corruption. We created the Office of the Conflict of Interest and Ethics Commissioner, the Commissioner of Lobbying, and others to ensure that all future governments were held to account. And I find it quite rich to listen to the speeches of my Liberal colleagues who claim that they respect officers of Parliament and us Conservatives do not, when it was in fact our previous Conservative government, who created these officers of Parliament to clean up the Liberal mess. Not only did Conservatives implement accountability by creating these new officers, we created stiff new political financing rules which limited political donations to individuals, banned corporate and union donations, and capped those donations at just over $1,000. In fact, if Conservatives had not implemented these tough new rules, the Liberal Party would still be holding cash for access fundraisers for thousands of dollars, and Canadians wouldn't even have the right to know about it. And this brings me to the fundamental point of this debate. On one hand, we have Conservatives, our record of holding government to account, even when it is not in the best interests of our own party. And on the other hand, you have the Liberals with Bill C-50, always trying to find ways to avoid playing by the rule and spirit of the law. In fact, this entire bill would be completely unnecessary if Liberals started acting in the way that Canadians expect of their representatives. I mean, no sooner had the Liberal Party regained its former place of power than they set about reconstructing that infamous machine. The machine used to leverage taxpayer funds and power for the benefit of the Liberal Party at the expense of the Canadian people. Ministers began holding fundraisers, a perfectly acceptable and necessary activity for politicians. But these were no ordinary fundraisers held in church basements or Legion halls across the land. No, these were exclusive fundraisers for the ultra-wealthy to pay the Liberal Party for exclusive access to decision-makers. Did these ministers break the law? No, but they showed their true colors. They showed that once given power, they will always leverage every angle to the benefit of their own party at the expense of the interests of Canadians. And that is exactly why people elected Conservatives in 2006, because Conservatives see the opportunity to abuse power, and we make laws to prevent that abuse. The Liberals, on the other hand, see an opportunity to abuse the spirit of the law, and rather than take real action to eliminate that abuse, will go to any lengths to justify it. And that is simply not acceptable, and Canadians deserve better. Bill C-50 is a joke. It is a public relations stunt designed to fool the Canadian people into believing that the Liberal Party has changed. Conservatives know better, and Canadians are not fooled. Let's take into account what this bill intends to implement. All fundraisers where tickets of $200 or over must be advertised prominently on the party's website, together with a list of those in attendance, how much they are required to pay. This provision is simply unenforceable, and it goes to the heart of my argument on why this legislation is a public relations exercise designed to make it appear that the Liberals are doing something about cash for access, while giving them a free hand to continue with these tainted fundraisers. Take, for example, the fact that any political party could host an exclusive fundraiser, a fundraiser at which no funds may be required to attend, but one where the expectation and obligation to donate may be very strong. For example, an exclusive invitation to a group of wealthy business people or lawyers doing work with the Government of Canada would not require the Liberals to disclose the details of the event, including the participants or how much they are required to pay, as long as it's less than $200, but at the event it could be made easily known that the Liberal Party would appreciate those in attendance to support the party through financial donations. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know, the sad fact is that neither the Accountability Act nor Bill C-50 can prevent parties from engaging in this kind of behavior. No amount of laws, short of having a member of the Office of the Conflict of Interest and Ethics Commissioner at every political fundraiser, can prevent these activities. The best solution for preventing future abuses of political power for financial gain is for politicians to take a stand and refuse to tolerate cash for access. The public has placed their trust in us and in turn expect nothing but the highest standards of personal and professional accountability and to make decisions that are in the best interests of the people. And I believe Canadians deserve better. And I know as members of Parliament that we can do better. And in fact, there was a time not so long ago that the Prime Minister promised Canadians better. He stated in his open and accountable government document the following, I quote, "Ministers and parliamentary secretaries must avoid conflict of interest, the appearance of conflict of interest, and situations that have potential to involve conflict of interest." I continue, "Ministers and parliamentary secretaries must ensure that political fundraising activities or considerations do not affect nor appear to affect the exercise of their official duties and access of individuals or organizations to government." End quote. This is the standard that Canadians want from their representatives. And I am ashamed that our Prime Minister has paid lip service to this and broken yet another promise to Canadians. No longer do we have a government that places priority on ethics when it comes to political financing, but we have a government that places priority on the illusion of ethics. And that is exactly what Bill C-50 intends to create, the illusion that the Liberal Party of Canada has changed in any way from the days of bagmen soliciting funds from those in business with government. It's time to stop the illusion and to give Canadians what they really deserve, accountable government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.